Thank you.
Bishops very quickly.
I'm sorry?
They became bishops very quickly. Was it? I mean, they just seemed all of a sudden they're preaching on their.
Well, they were these. Well, again, we're dealing with the cream of the crop.
It wasn't like
We're dealing
that.
with the best of the best of the best. There are other folks who aren't becoming bishops until they're 85.
Now, but all these were in Constantinople.
No.
Well, I thought that's what you said.
No. Basil, John starts out in Antioch and eventually becomes Archbishop of Constantinople. Basil is Archbishop of Caesarea. His brother Gregory is the Bishop of Nyssa. And Gregory the theologian is Bishop of Nazianzus first. He steps down. They offer him the see of Constantinople, but he won't take it. So I mean, they had probably all been there, but Basil didn't live there. His brother Gregory didn't live there. John did once he was made an archbishop. Gregory the theologian does when he moves there.
So they were all Eastern Rite.
Absolutely. All of the ones we've been dealing with them. And sister. You'll know when I know. Only God knows at the present time. Yes.
What did they do with their writings?
What did they do with them? What do you mean?
Did they have scribes?
Some of them
write
did.
And distribute them to the churches? Or
Well,
what did they do?
Some of the things they're actually writing them down themselves. Some of John's homilies are being written down by scribes in the church while he gives them, and then they're saved. Some of them are letters going back and forth, so we have the recipients to thank for saving them and not deciding to light a fire with them. I'm sorry.
They become the properties of that church, or the
Some of them end up in private collection. I mean, if it belongs to a person, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Some things eventually wind up in either cathedral libraries, monastic libraries. For instance, we talked upon week 1 about the decay. One of the details I didn't mention was, for centuries, that text was lost. We knew it had been there because folks were writing, as the decay clearly says, but we didn't have the actual text. In the early 19th century, some scholar was going through a monastery library. I don't remember off the top of my head whether it was in Istanbul or somewhere in Greece. I don't remember right now, and found it. So it was refound, reprinted as a text. So for something like that, we have millennia of monks to thank for saving this, and then the person who just going through the shelves and opening books found it.
This is only one. In what language? They make copies of it.
Greek.
One.
Athanasius, who I mentioned last week, was writing in both Coptic and Greek.
Have you read them, most of the writings?
Absolutely not. John's writings are, again, not all of John's writings are translated. And again, I would know that there are tons and tons and tons of them. I've read some of them, some of the biggies, some of the lesser ones. No. That's what I'll spend my retirement doing, is I'm preparing for my own day before the awesome judgment seat. Anything else? Billy.
So the impact of arraignment, what's his name again?
Arius?
Was really long-reaching, because we was talking here about this guy, Gregory of Nyssa, complaining that you go into a store and the money changer is talking about all the things that Arius brought up, and they said he used popular song to promote the Gnostic viewpoint.
And we did two on the other side. That's where many of our hymns come
All right.
from. Yep. Yeah,
So these philosophical battles,
go on.
Go on.
long
And
lasting.
again, this is a society that takes these things very seriously. Just as, some of us might go down for our coffee and donuts and say, how about that game last night? These folks are going into the store saying, what about Arius? That's it's the same kind of thing. They took this very seriously. No, as I mentioned, there are pockets of Arians that will last into, nearly to the year 1000. Pockets, though, and again, at that point, they're in areas that are far removed. They've got no more power, but there it is. Adrian.
What's the chance that some around today just under another?
These things do tend to resurface from time to time. You will find aspects of Arius' thought in the theology of the Mormon Church, where Jesus is important, but he's not God, which always leads to the debate, are Mormons Christians or not? Mormons will say absolutely yes. We at least have to put some kind of asterisk after that. Oh, if you're using this word, you're certainly not using it in the same way the rest of us are. Because you do not identify Christ as part of the unique Godhead.
Also, in Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, no, they come down a little differently. They'll identify Jesus as the Archangel Michael. Yeah, so they're not exactly the same thing. Yes?
Someone had said a long time ago, I don't know, but that's music was called Master
I cannot comment on the musical scribblings of Michael Jackson. I am far from expert. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.